Hey guys, hopefully all is well. We're going to go ahead and do some tangent graphing today. We're going to have a video on tangent and a video on cotangent. So here's a couple of tangent questions for you. Question number 1 today. You got your graph paper, you got your pens and pencils, and ruler. If you do, you're ready. If not, push pause, come back, get started again. All right, so here we go. First one, y equals 2 tangent of theta divided by 2. Okay, so for amplitude, it's always none for tangent. But for your middle of the middle, you're going to go 2 units. Okay, number in front of tangent. All right, then for period, your period is, let's see, 180 for tangent. We're going to divide it by a half because there's a half in front of the angle. Remember, dividing by 2 is the same thing as a half. Multiply by 2 there to get rid of the half, and you'll have 360 degrees. So period is 360. Now that sets up a few things for us. An asymptote at asymptote at 180 degrees. And the middle of the middle then is going to happen at 90 degrees. You take that 180, divide it by 2, and that's where that 90 comes from. There's no phase shift back here. If you were to set that equal to 0, it doesn't solve anything. So again, nothing to move over, so no phase shift there. All right, so for this graph here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little more of a compressed scaling here because I just have 90s and 180s. So I'm just going to do the 45-90 graph. So I'm just going to go one line and then 90. And again, I'm going by 45s then. One line and then 180. One line and then 270. One line and then 360. Going backwards, one line, negative 90. One line, negative 180. One line, negative 270. One line, negative 360. This is fine to do. You can use this. You can use this a little more often if you'd like. I don't like you to squeeze them in too much because I think sometimes you get a little confused as to what's happening. But that's up to you. Either way is correct as long as you've got the points and the numbers at the right places. All right, I'm going to scale my y-axis by 1s. We've pretty much been doing that on all the graphs. Grab your pencil. Even though there's no phase shift, I always like to do the first part in pencil. Remember, tangent starts in the middle. And we're going to have an asymptote at 180. And in the middle of the middle, at 90, middle of the middle will be up 2. Okay, and we can draw that part of the graph in. Now remember, the other part of the period sits on this side of it, but I always make this middle section to kind of carry out my pattern. So my patterning is, looks like we're going over 2. So go over 2 and down to negative 2. Go over 2, and we'll have an asymptote at negative 180. Okay, so there is the middle section of that graph. Again, continuing the pattern, you just go asymptote, then over 2, asymptote over 2, over 2, you'll be at middle, and that gets us a 360, so we're good there. And stop. And then on the other side, we'll go back 2, and then back 2 again to middle. This one was fairly simple because we didn't have a lot to deal with there. Looks pretty good. All right, so there's the way your graph for 2 tangent theta divided by 2 should look. You should have asymptotes at 180 and negative 180. Double check that. Zeroing out at 360 and negative 360. Okay? All right, just to review real quick, remember this is actually the period of tangent, the part that you can see where I've covered up my hands there. That is the period of tangent that we're talking about, that it takes 360 degrees to start repeating itself, and you'll notice from 0 to 360 it did that. All right, let's continue on. Question 2. I've actually already done this video. This is going to be my second time doing these same questions. YouTube, I guess, allows a limit of time. I didn't know that, so oh well. I'm getting extra good at these. Hopefully you're practicing a couple times too, and you're going to be extra good at them as well. All right, so your amplitude on number 2 is none again, but we'll be thinking about the middle of the middle. The middle of the middle will happen at 1. We don't know the angle yet. We'll get that in just a second. All right. period, the period is going to be 180 for tangent, but you'll divide it by 3 here, the number in front of the angle. 180 divided by 3 is 60. Okay, so that means that our asymptote is at 30 degrees, which, means our middle of the middle will be at 45, or not, sorry, 45, at 15 degrees. So 15. So that might affect how we scale a little bit. Now our phase shift is going to be found by doing 3 theta minus 90 equals 0. So we'll add 90, get 3 theta equals 90. Divide each side by 3 to get theta equals 30. So we'll be shifting right 30 degrees. Okay, once we get our pencil graph done. All right, so now here's the way I would deal with this, because I've got a 15, my middle of the middle at 15. I've got 30s for my phase shift. I got 60s. The only way you're going to get that 15 in there is if you actually have a 15. So what I would do on this graph is I would scale by 15s. Okay, we won't be able to fit all the way to 360 on our paper. We'd have to have a much larger piece of paper. But here's what I'm saying. If we go 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, we'll have all the numbers that we need. So again, how did I do that? I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blank lines, the next one 90. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blank lines, and the next one should be 180. Okay, now that's as far as I'm going to go because I won't be able to get any more numbers on this. Going backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next number will be negative 90 degrees. And then back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. The next one would be negative 180 degrees. Again, just to help you see how we scaled on this one, we went 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 75 degrees, and then 90. So we're counting by 15s. Okay, I know you can handle that. So we'll go with that. All right, so pencil first. Tangent starts in the middle. Okay, at 15 degrees will be up 1. That's the middle of the middle. There's going to be an asymptote at 30 degrees. That's the middle of the period. Okay, and now what I would do is make this middle section, even though that's not the actual period, I make the middle section and then I'll shift it. So it looks like you go over 1 from the middle, so we'll go back 1, and you go back 1 more, and you'll have an asymptote. Okay, so that's the way you want to set it up. You can draw in the picture if you want, lightly, okay, just so you can kind of see what's happening. And now what you're going to do is you're going to shift everything right 30 degrees. Right is obviously to the right, sorry, but 30 degrees is 2 lines. So we're going to go over 1 line, 2 lines. So the asymptote will be right on the axis. I'll kind of put it just to the side so you can see that there. We'll go over 2 places for this dot. Just count over 2. For the middle dot, we'll go over 2, so we'll actually be sitting on that asymptote. Then we'll go over 2 again. From the asymptote, go over 2. And you will have an asymptote. Carefully draw in your picture, erase your pencil, and you're going to have it. You're going to have what you want. So now again, we'll go from the asymptote over 1. We'll be at middle at 90. Over 1 will be up. Then there'll be another asymptote. Okay, looks just like that. We'll do it again. We'll go over 1. We'll go over 1. We'll go over 1. And then there'll be an asymptote at 180. Again, you can always pause, go back, rewatch if you need to, if you're not seeing it. Go back 1, go back 1, go back 1. Next line should be an asymptote. And then go back 1, go back 1, go back 1. Next line will be an asymptote. Again, you're just following the pattern, doing it kind of over and over. Go back 1, go back 1, go back, whoops, 1 right there. And then asymptote at negative 180. And there you go. You have your tangent graph. See you at the next video.